And our new Fox News polling shows that people perhaps are concerned with how things are going. This is as of March 14th. Those that say they disapprove, 56%, more than half. Those who approve of the president's handling of the economy is at 43%. And in that same polling, we asked about the most important issue facing the country today. And top of the list is inflation. And the economy is number 2, and jobs. Those are first and second as it goes down to political division and preservation of democracy.
You know, who could have possibly predicted that Trump slapping tariffs all over literally everything might have a negative impact on the economy? Besides economists. But what do they know? Is that even a real thing? It can't be a real job. The problem is when it's not just economists, it's also everyday Americans who are suddenly losing faith in the economy under Trump, which forces Fox News to ask those really hard-hitting questions like, hey, is he going to do anything about this? Thankfully, though, we have Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt to tell us in her trademark condescending, first of all, how dare you tone, that, first of all, how dare us?
Is the president doing enough to answer the needs and demands of the American voter when it comes to the economy and lowering prices?
The president and his economic team are working on this effort every single day. And the president is not only trying to fix the mess created by the previous administration's incompetence and reckless spending, he is trying to fix decades of unfair trade practices that have ripped our country off, that have sent jobs overseas, and that have forced millions of Americans out of their jobs.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Donald Trump is treating being the president like a full-time job. What more could we possibly ask for? Someone get this man a golf cart that he can look like he's kind of falling out of all the time. I don't know what it is, but every time I see him in a golf cart, it just looks like he's testing the limits of gravity. You know what I mean? He's about as good at driving a golf cart as he is at driving our economy into the ground. And I do love this play from their playbook. Anytime their voters get upset, rightfully so, they immediately pull out the blame Biden card. I call this Schrodinger's Biden because he neither exists as a evil, maniacal genius nor as a brainless, old, decrepit zombie. He exists in a kind of superposition, and then he collapses into one or the other, depending on the lie that the Trump administration needs to tell.
Right from the get-go, the Dow is off a significant amount, 308 points in percentage terms. That is 0.7%. The Dow 30 dominated by the red. That means more selling than buying. The S&P 500 opening with a loss of about 50-odd points. That's exactly 1%. The Nasdaq Composite, that's down sharply, 275 to the downside, 1.5%. My guess is that big tech will be down across the board. I'm right, apart from Apple, it just opened up. Only down 3 cents, that's nothing for Apple. But Alphabet, Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon are all down. Look at Microsoft at $3.70 per share. Ouch.
So just so we're clear, not only is the stock market reacting very poorly to Trump's decision-making, almost like tariffs aren't really great for the economy, but even big tech is taking a hit as a result of Trump's policy decisions. Now, fear not, everyday Americans, all right? Because I think the billionaires are going to be just fine, all right? I don't know if you're anything like me, but I just stay up all night. I'm like, is Elon Musk going to be okay? Is Zuckerberg going to be okay? And I think they will. In fact, there might even be a chance for them to profit off of this chaotic economy, which might even incentivize certain kinds of decision-making that might perpetuate the problem we're already in which a very few amount of people can benefit from the misery of the masses. But if you just don't think about that, then tariffs seem pretty cool, man. Kinda. If you don't think about that and you don't listen to the economists or the people who voted for you, tariffs seem pretty cool. I think he just likes the sound of the word tariff, to be honest with you. I don't think he knows what it is.
You heard Lucas's reporting there where the president says he doesn't care if the prices go up on U.S. cars. So what's the message to the U.S. consumer?
The message is that tariffs are tax cuts, tariffs are jobs, tariffs are national security, tariffs are great for America. Tariffs will make America great again.
That's cool. So they're just like outright lying about what tariffs are, just saying that they're other things. Tariffs are a warm apple pie on a cool summer evening. Tariffs are like a box of chocolates because you just never know what you're going to get. Tariffs are like season passes to your favorite team. What are you talking about? That's not what they are. They're money out of your pocket. It's not that complicated. And what kind of question is that? Trump says he doesn't care if car prices go up for the consumer. What kind of message does that send to the consumer? It sends the message that he doesn't care. The answer's in the question, right? Like, you said it. He doesn't care. And these guys just outright lie. Tariffs are a warm glass of milk at the end of a long day in 1950. What are you talking about? Also, these costs get absorbed by the consumer. That's you and me. I don't like paying for these things, and yet I have to. Why? To bring jobs over here? When's that going to happen? I don't know. What I do know is going to happen is what the economists say, and it's going to strengthen China, and it's going to weaken local businesses for the foreseeable future. And I guess none of that matters because tariffs are like just the coolest thing that you could ever. Tariffs mean jobs. Tariffs means retirement. Tariffs mean tariff, tariff, tariff. If we say the word enough times, you will grow to like it. Or else.
On the tariffs that you're planning, so you're expecting to hit something like 10 to 15 countries, is that right?
No.
All countries? All of the countries. Is it across the board?
Not 10. I don't know who told you 10 or 15 countries.
Well, we heard that. So we heard that you were going to aim for the 15%.
But you didn't hear it from me.
Okay, so how many countries will be in that initial tranche?
You'd start with all countries, so let's see what happens. There are many countries.
On the Russian...
I haven't heard a rumor about 15 countries, 10 or 15.
So you're starting with all countries?
Essentially, all of the countries that we're talking about. Wouldn't be talking about all countries. It's not a cutoff.
One thing I like to think I've learned in life is that some problems are really complex and they require a certain amount of finesse. So taking a one-size-fits-all approach to them rarely works, like blanket, indiscriminate, broad tariffs. I just wish someone would tell this life lesson to the Trump administration, but they don't seem very interested in it. The problem is that once that economy crashes, the haves will be able to profit more from the have-nots, and there will be an even greater redistribution of wealth toward the 1%. But the good news is once they get all the money, then it trickles down to us. That's what I've been told, at least. It'll trickle down like rain or urine, and yeah, we'll all benefit in the long run. Because when have billionaires ever hoarded wealth?
China, Japan, and South Korea held the first trade talks in 5 years on Sunday, amid concerns over U.S. President Donald Trump's import tariffs. The three Asian manufacturing giants agreed to, quote, closely cooperate for a comprehensive and high-level talks to improve free trade in the region. That's according to a statement released after the meeting. Trade ministers from the three nations met ahead of Trump's planned announcement on Wednesday of more tariffs in what he calls, quote, Liberation Day. Last week, Trump announced 25% import tariffs on cars and auto parts, a move that may hurt companies, especially Asian automakers, which are among the largest vehicle exporters to the U.S.
So not only do tariffs negatively impact the consumer, they also make us more and more isolated from the rest of the world and strengthen our enemies. South Korea and Japan are allies, and when we make decisions that drive them into the arms of China, that's what economists refer to as not good. Okay? It's like if you're at a party and you smell, and your friends are hanging out with one of those, like an ex of yours that doesn't even like you anymore. And they're like, look, we're not really a fan of yours either, but he stinks. He stinks in there. And then you're in the other room. You're just wafting this nasty odor everywhere. And you're thinking it's fantastic because it's going to force people to start producing perfume in the living room. I don't know if that metaphor actually works or not. I think it did for a second, and then I think it fell off the rails completely. But you get the idea.
So you think that the tariff proposal will be beneficial to your constituents?
I'm optimistic that it will be because, look, this is, Joe, you talk about Cincinnati. I was down in Cincinnati with a manufacturer the other day who was saying to me, look, I love the idea that we're going to hold countries accountable who are not complying with the same OSHA regulations, wage regulations, EPA regulations, and that we're going to level the playing field. And they felt that the tariffs could help them do that.
So even as the stock market tanks and economists are warning of an absolute disaster, Republicans are still trying to sell tariffs as like this really great thing for consumers. The problem is that they have to contend with reality. This leaves them no choice but to speak in super vague, smiling terms like, oh, are you 100% behind Trump's decisions? I'm optimistic. Great word choice, because that way if things go south, you can just be like, I was optimistic. What can I say? That's just me being an optimistic American, you know, and they'll say some other nonsense that doesn't mean anything, and everyone will forget about it the next day. It's actually kind of depressing.
What are you planning for?
Well, I've been talking to a lot of my businesses, my business community, to try to find out what they're doing. And I mean, the scenario is pretty simple. At least what most people think is, higher tariffs lead to higher costs leads to lower demand leads to lower production. And ultimately, that's where it becomes a mayor's issue. Lower production and lower demand means job loss. And that really is a significant issue. We've gone through really challenging times in Southeast Michigan before. And I'm not sure, these are just negotiation tactics. I hope the president and his team are able to move quickly. I was pleased that he had a very positive meeting with the prime minister at the end of last week. But the uncertainty, as you see the markets reacting to it, it's daunting. It's impossible to prepare.
So bottom line, Trump's economic policies are already proving to be an absolute disaster, and we're just now getting started. When Trump's own sycophants fail to sell the idea that tariffs are like super cool, when we are driving our allies into the arms of China, when local businesses can't plan for the future because of how chaotic Trump's economic policies are, maybe it's time to take a breather. Take a time out, take a second, regroup, huddle up, take a moment, get yourself centered. I don't know, do something, but not this, not whatever this is. Because what I don't understand is he trying to take money from everyday Americans just to line his billionaire friends' pockets? Or in his weird, demented, tiny brain, does he actually think he can pull this off? Does he think he can somehow lower the value of the dollar while maintaining global hegemony, and then somehow get all the jobs back to America and everyone's going to pat him on the back? I don't see that happening. I don't even see how he thinks that's happening. Who told him this was a good idea? Who is the tariff whisperer that he apparently has on staff? Whatever the case may be, things are probably only going to get more chaotic in the near future. Not just because Trump's policies are bad, but because chaos begets chaos. Chaos just brings more chaos. You're already seeing it in the markets, and you're already seeing it on the Republican side. You're already seeing it with Republican voters. I almost wish there was just like experts, right, that we could consult on these matters. Maybe we could get a bunch of these experts together and they could all check each other's work. And then we could make decisions based on like a kind of peer review system, and we could look at the data and we could just do what the data indicates is best. I know it's a crazy idea. We could call these people like economists. Oh my gosh. That's what they are. They're economists. Anyway, bye everybody, and may God help us all.